Now, the January 6th pardons were the most predictable thing that were going to happen in the first day of the Trump presidency. But I was wondering what was going to happen with Enrique Tarrio, who they threw the book at. Now, of course, you can pardon anyone, and that is exactly what's happened. Enrique Tarrio, the leader of the Proud Boys, has not only been pardoned, he's actually been released as of about an hour ago. And I want to show you guys what was done here. I'm going to read you a couple things that are going to blow your mind, as a matter of fact. Like this right here. I want to read you this line right there that's out of focus or out of the frame right now. But that's what Enrique Tarrio said to the judge before they handed down a 22-year sentence. And I read that and was like, damn, like my viewers, they need to hear that. They need to hear what he said to the judge and what the judge said back to him, because it's wild. The last segment of this video is going to be this kid who turned his own father in after January 6th. And he's on CNN talking about how terrified he is that his dad is getting released from prison. His entire family is with his dad, and he's on an island, this woke kid. There's a picture of this kid with his family when he, like, I don't know, however many years ago. It's his dad who looks totally normal. His wife looks totally normal. Kids look totally normal. And then this kid, and he's wearing a mask. He's the only one wearing a mask. So that should have been a dead giveaway that this was coming. But stick around for this story, because this one is mind-blowing. Just wait till you hear this Enrique Tarrio thing where he pleaded for his life from this judge before he handed down a 22-year sentence. It's absolutely wild. Now, before we jump into it, though, if you have not subscribed to the channel, I would appreciate it if you would do that and ring the bell so you know every single time that I upload. I don't just say it for my health. I say it for you guys and my health. Also, I want to tell you about the sponsor of this video, Ground News, because that is where you can hear the truth about stories like this. Now, by now, it should be obvious why I continue to work with Ground News. Their mission to make media more transparent and their use of data to give readers a full perspective on breaking news aligns with my principles, and it also aligns with how I research my videos. Their visual breakdowns show political bias, they show reliability, ownership, and it makes it incredibly easy to compare headlines for each story and access information much quicker. Let's take a look at the exploding Cybertruck story as an example. You can see right here how many outlets covered it. You can see over here the bias distribution, whether it's left, center, or right. This is pretty evenly distributed. And we can go down here and compare headlines, as well as the lean left, lean right data points, and decide which ones we want to read. Now, I will continue to say that the blind spot feed is the best part of Ground News. I want to show you a few stories that you may not have heard of because they are blind spots. This is my favorite feature on Ground News because these stories slip through the cracks. And if you just go to Ground News blind spot page, you can find so many interesting stories that no one is seeing. Check these out. The blind spot feed is like a litmus test for left or right to see, are you an objective person? Because if you're an objective person and you're on the right and you find out that no one is covering a story, then, you know, you should want to read that. If you don't, then you're not objective. Now, while I'm scrolling these, you go over to ground.news/Jesse or scan the QR code to subscribe. Ground News is giving my viewers 40% off the unlimited access Vantage plan, the plan I use to research all of my videos. It's only $5 per month, and in a world where news moves fast and the truth is hard to find, it's important to be using Ground News to get a full perspective. Plus, by subscribing, you're directly supporting my work. So, as I'm sure you're aware, Trump granted sweeping pardons of all the January 6th defendants, including rioters who violently attacked police. Now, I'm starting with AP News now in most of my videos because I kind of like starting with the most slanted, you know, anti our side viewpoint of this stuff, because I'm going to be honest, dude. I feel like we've won. And so I can kind of, I actually get a lot of satisfaction reading them, like, try to slant these stories in that direction. And I just think about them writing it just, I can't believe they did this. It's funny to me now. It used to make me really mad. Now it's just funny. Donald Trump is pardoned. And by the way, obviously, we'll get to the Enrique Tarrio part of this right afterwards. But President Donald Trump is pardoned, commuted the prison crimes in the January 6, 2021, including people convicted of assaulting police officers using his clemency powers on his first day back in office to undo the massive prosecution of the unprecedented assault on the seat of American democracy. Who wrote this? Alana Durkin Richer and Michael Kunzel. You know why they do that? I think they do that. They have like, two people wrote this so that one person doesn't get a bunch of shit online. So Trump's action just hours after his return to the White House on Monday paves the way for the release from prison of people found guilty of violent attacks on police, as well as leaders of far-right extremist groups convicted of failed plots to keep the Republicans in power after he lost the 2020 election to Joe Biden. Oh my God, this is embarrassing. This is so embarrassing. I can't actually. I've changed my mind. I'm not doing this part. All right, let's jump into it. Well, unfortunately, it looks like he has actually not been released. This is an hour ago. It's going to take another day to get him processed and out. But let's run through this thing. Okay. First of all, who is Enrique Tarrio? Okay, in case you guys are not clear on who he is, right? So he was the leader of the Proud Boys, okay? And he was the guy that was always out front with the bullhorn. These guys did everything. When I say these guys, I mean like the federal agencies. They did everything they could to discredit him. They said that he was a federal informant and that he was doing all of this. But bottom line, they saw the Proud Boys as this. You know what? I don't know what they saw the Proud Boys as. All I know is that the Proud Boys were loud, vocal supporters of Donald Trump that were constantly going out into the street and protesting in his defense. And definitely they were the other side of the violent clashes in the street when, for whatever reason, if you were a left-wing organization, it was like kosher for you to just go into the street and shoot off firecrackers at federal buildings and light fires and throw fire bombs at police and burn down stores and loot and whatever. Everything, that was all cool. And then the Proud Boys were the response to that, in a lot of ways. Like at least the Proud Boys that were the Proud Boys, January 6th. Like they were going to these other cities where the Antifa and them were doing these, these protests, and they would fight them in the street, And I got to be honest, I watched a lot of those videos and I very much enjoyed them. And I want to read you guys actually just real quick. I want to read you the thing that I was talking about so I don't hide the ball on that too much. Then I want to talk to you guys about exactly my impression of the Proud Boys and how a person would, get driven into joining that organization. Okay. So this is what he said. So he wasn't even at the Capitol on January 6th, for the record. Okay. Enrique Tarrio wasn't even there. Right now, I'm going to read you also what the district attorney's office in DC said about him and why he was being sentenced. So this is literally the United States Attorney's Office in District of Columbia. I'm going to read this entire thing to you afterwards. But regardless, he wasn't even there. Okay, and listen to what he said to the judge. Okay, he said, "I'm not a political." This is when he was begging for before he was sentenced. "I'm not a political zealot. Inflicting harm or changing the results of the election was not my goal. Please show me mercy. I ask you that you not take my 40s from me." He's 39, okay? You want to know what they gave him then? 22 years. So they're like, your 40s? You're not coming out till you're 60, bud, okay? So not only did they not heed what he asked, they took his 40s and his 50s from him. These people were ruthless, dude. I mean, ruthless to a level where it's hard to even, you're like, really? Like the guy wasn't there. Now, let me read to you what the United States Attorney, it's like, because what story are they telling, right? What's the story that they are telling that would justify putting this guy in prison for 22 years, okay? So they said Henry Enrique Tarrio, 39 of Miami, Florida, was sentenced to 22 years in prison and 36 months of supervised release by the U.S. District Judge Timothy J. Kelly. His is the longest sentence to date related to the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Was not there. And I'm sure that that's unrelated to the fact that he was the leader of the Proud Boys, right? So he's not there, and somehow they found a way to lock up the organization's leader for 22 years. Weird. On January 6, 2021, the United States Capitol was attacked. 140 law enforcement officers defending those inside were assaulted, and the peaceful transfer of power of the newly elected government, a cornerstone of our democracy, was interrupted. The Justice Department proved in court that the Proud Boys played a central role in setting the January 6th attack up, setting it in motion. Over the past week, 4 members of the Proud Boys received sentences that reflect the danger their crimes pose to our democracy. Today, the leader of the Proud Boys, he gets the 22 years. Okay, so the other guys were given 18 years, 17 years, 15 years, and 10 years. I don't even want to read that entire article. It's just going to make you guys mad. But here's what I will tell you, is that if you really think that guy deserved a 22-year prison sentence, basically what they said was that he set up a central unit inside the Proud Boys that was the Ministry of Self-Defense. And what they really were going to do is they were going to overthrow the government. I mean, dude, the bottom line on all of this, if I read you this, it reads like, sedition, they were going to overthrow the government, whatever. It's like, and yet still, they brought no guns. Okay? They brought no guns. Do you think that the Proud Boys are a bunch of guys that lack firearms if they want to bring guns to a gunfight? Do you think that if this would have been in Texas that they wouldn't have been carrying firearms? They were literally abiding by the law and not carrying any guns. None of them had guns. The idea that they were going to overthrow the election the government is so dumb. It's honestly hard to even kind of put words to how stupid that entire talk track is. Let's go do it. Let's go overthrow the government. They're all, you take the left wing, I'll take the right wing. You're like, okay, cool. And then we'll go down the center and we're just going to take it over. They're like, all right, how are we going to have people start doing what we say? It's like, we're just going to point in their face and go, we're mad. And then we'll start breaking things. They're all, yeah, that's going to work. It's like, do you think we should have brought guns? Like, yeah, you should probably brought guns if you want to overthrow the government. Then, of course, hypothetically, if you were to have brought guns and let's say you took hostages and you did that whole thing or whatever your stupid plan would have been, you would have been dealing with the immediate military response in addition to law enforcement, and your dumb sedition would have lasted probably, I don't know, as long as you guys would have lasted if you really wanted to do we're not taking no for an answer, with hostages or something. It's so dumb. It obviously was not what they were doing. Okay. 22 years in prison. Okay. Anyway, but I'm glad to hear that he's going to be getting out. Do I condone the fact that people attack police? No, of course I don't condone people attacking police. Do I condone Donald Trump pardoning everyone from January 6th? 100% I do. Yes, I do. And do I want to laugh a little bit at people crying about that on X? Yes, I do. 100% I want to laugh about that because I got to watch those same people trounce on the corpses of these people. If they would have given life sentences to every single person who stepped foot in that Capitol, I am positive that the people who are on X, crying about that right now, they would have been happy about that. Okay, there's no connection with those types of people and the fact that there are real individuals on the other side of this. Okay, I can at least understand that people who disagree with me are watching a different channel and they just, I don't know. I don't wish death upon them. I don't wish life sentences upon them. Okay, but like in the the example of these guys, right? You can certainly look at these. The guillotine has arrived at the anti-Trump protest in D.C. Interesting. Now, I will show you guys. There's some hilarious comments to this, though, dude. Okay. This one I thought was, that's for trans surgeries. Oh, man. That's funny. I remember when they had a noose up for Pence and we were lectured for 6 months that was evil. I believe that's punishable by 20 years in prison. Yeah. They are planning to suicide themselves in protest. Oh, did I like that? I literally just said I don't wish death on them. I just like the joke is all, So gallows, not okay. Guillotine, okay. Got it. I thought this was bad. Remember the gallows and they made a big deal about it? Yeah. I wonder if the press will freak out about this one. Probably not. Yeah, definitely not. Listen, dude, if you want to go cruise through these yourself, you should, because it's absolutely hilarious. The double standard and the lack of self-awareness that these people have. So as it says in this post, this guy turned his own father into the FBI after January 6, 2021. Now he surfaces on CNN to whine about the pardons and pose as a victim. Is it any surprise his father can't stand him? Okay, let's listen to this guy talk about why he is Jackson Reffitt is so upset about the pardons, even though it means his own father is going to be getting out of prison after he got an 8-year prison sentence thanks to his son, the worst human on earth.
Up front now is Jackson Reffitt. He turned his father, Guy Reffitt, into the FBI for participating in the insurrection. And Guy Reffitt is currently in prison, serving a 6.5-year sentence for rioting at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. So obviously convicted and serving his sentence. Jackson, I appreciate your time. So here we are, and Trump is announcing pardons for January 6th defendants. That this could include your father, who's serving a 6-year sentence, a 6.5-year sentence as we speak. What's your reaction?
Well, I'm honestly flabbergasted that we've gotten to this point. I mean, I'm terrified. I don't know what I'm going to do. I've taken as many precautions as I could recently. I've picked up a gun. I've moved, and I've gotten myself away from what I thought would be a dangerous situation. Instead,
Hey, you want to know something? That's the only guy that should be scared. You know, like that's one of the few guys that should be scared. I'm not talking about like violence. I'm saying like if people who are like, oh my God, now that Trump's in charge, he's going to prosecute all of us. He's going to come after us with these legions of whatever, and he's going to go after us. Like we should find a reason to go after this kid, dude. We absolutely should find a reason to go after this kid. You turned in your own father, okay? Now, this is not the really noble, good part of my personality that's talking right now, so you could probably just disregard everything that I say, but I can't really help it. But this violates every principle that I live by on a level that's kind of hard to even wrap my brain around. Like this little disloyal, cocksucking little prick who took his parents raised him, gave him money, gave him shelter, gave all that, and he got so wrapped up in his political ideology that he threw his father in prison as a political prisoner, as far as I'm concerned. And then when he got released, he's not like, okay, well, hopefully he's made amends, and now we can continue. Now he's like, I got a gun and I fled my blah, 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 blah. And I'm sure this kid will do awesome in prison. Let's find a reason to get him there.
Staying where I thought my dad could find me, or other people, people that are going to feel so validated by these actions, by this pardon, is I'm just so filled with paranoia about what could happen.
Good. Now, no one should attack this kid, right? But living with paranoia after you betrayed your family like that, I am not opposed to that.
I've been waiting all day from a call from the DOJ to just figure it out and know what to do next.
Hey, the DOJ is not going to call you, bro. They don't know who the fuck you are, you nerd.
Right now, I don't, other than just to, sit around and talk about it.
I mean, you're scared. I mean, you're right. I mean, you're scared about what could happen from your father specifically, or someone else.
Yeah. I don't know what other people are thinking. I don't even know what my father's thinking. I mean, I've talked to my father before, but I had thought it gotten better, and it really hadn't. My dad is still involved with these militias. He still talks with, a martyr status. He has no change. He's more galvanized than ever.
Oh my God, he is? Gosh, I wonder what could have galvanized him. Do you think it could have been the federal government throwing him in prison for 6.5 years for participating in a protest? Like, and his own son turning him in? His own son who got brainwashed by the ideologues that did it on purpose. They brainwashed his own family to where they turned him in. So he's been, oh God, I wonder why he's more dug in on his position.
I've seen my mom too. My sisters are waiting outside the jail cell right now. And, I feel for them, and I know who they are, and I love them, but I can't feel safe. And I'm
So you're the black sheep of the family. So everyone else in your family has had your father's back, and you're on an island by yourself with your little woke nerds that are dwindling fast. You're on an island, bud. Okay? You are on an island, and it's only going to be shrinking. The water is coming up. Okay? Global warming, dude. It's coming up. There's nowhere to go, dude. Okay? Your movement's gone. And a thing like that you did, you're never going to be able to undo that. All the woke points that you got, okay, if you think this kid did this out of some big moral, requirement because of principles that he has to support the United States, yeah, right. Okay? These are woke people. They do things like this to get social validation from the other psychotic nerds that would cut them loose in 1 second if it suited them, and they would get points for it. You are reaping exactly what you sowed, you disloyal, ungrateful little shit.
Sure, hundreds of other families, thousands of other people that have been affected by these people and their actions. And what could happen when they're released? I mean, who knows? I mean, my dad once called me a traitor, and
that's exactly what you are. That is exactly what you are. A traitor to your own family. The worst kind of traitor.
He said traitors get shot. So that's, all I can think about recently. And
oh, did he say that in the same sentence, or, be specific? Again, I'm not condoning violence on this kid. I'm not condoning violence on this kid. The end.
Just, yeah.
I'm sorry, Jackson. You mentioned your sisters, and I know you're one of three, and your sisters are there, and you mentioned your mom too, and your mom and your sisters are fully on board with your father. And you talk about, it really sounds like January 6th broke your family apart. Is there any way that
Yeah.
No, you broke your family apart, idiot. You broke your family apart. You turned your own father into the FBI.
Go ahead.
Destroy it. Seriously?
No. It exercised you, and you exercised yourself from the family when you betrayed everyone else in your family.
I mean, my father's actions coming from the Trump presidency and what he thought what he was doing was right.
Hey, so you better show a picture of his dad. I bet you they're not showing a picture of his dad because he probably looks completely fucking normal.
Just destroyed it. And I made a very, very disgusting decision to inform authorities about what he was doing. And I still feel horrible about it every day. And, my sisters are out there right now, and they're rooting for him. And, I understand that. I come with a point of love towards that. Like, I want to be there for them, but I can't. It just isn't safe.
Hey, let me scratch that itch for you guys that I know everybody's been thinking about. I wonder what the dad looks like. Look at this, dude. Look at this picture. Here is the whole family. The dad is on that, I always have to do this backwards. There's the dad, okay? And his son is there wearing a pink backpack and a mask. Okay, so everybody, that dad, that guy looks like a militia guy. He's a big militia guy who's just going to, oh my God, he belongs in jail, belongs in prison. And his dumb woke son who got wokeified by some teacher wearing a mask. No one else wearing a mask, but his son is, right? And then he turned him into the feds. That is unbelievable, man. Okay, let's continue and listen to the rest of this. Okay.
I've done the same things I have done to do what I thought to do to protect my family. And, it's hard.
But you still love your father.
Of course. I love him. I love him. I just cannot feel safe around him. Cannot feel safe around people he knows. I cannot feel safe around the people my mother knows. My mom has, used my name to sit in front of a crowded room of these far right Trump supporters. And whenever she brings up my name and what I've done, the crowd will just roar in just anger about what the hell did that kid do?
Yeah, I would do the same thing. I'd be like, boo. Boo. You turned in your father. This is not right. And again, right? He's the one in the mask. Here's him with the rest of his family. I wonder who turned that kid into whatever he is now. You don't get those ideas from nowhere, man. Those don't just come out of left field. Someone got in that kid's brain. And, I don't care what his dad did. You don't turn your own parent in to the FBI.
And I being away from all this and just spectating what they're doing is just terrifying. And I can't do anything but just spectate. And I don't know.
Well, Jackson, I appreciate your...
Bottom line, nice haircut, guy. You're looking a lot like a girl. And I would imagine that is very popular in your circle of friends. But, listen, dude, let me see what the comments on this are. I'm very curious. This is going to be a common practice today in any of these videos that I do. I'm going to be looking I'm going to be looking at all the comments. Dinesh, A post like this is one of the problems we must overcome to MAGA. It's intuitively obvious this family is going through many issues. We certainly don't need you tweeting your opinion on their ongoing struggles. Why don't you pray for them? Nash, try that. I mean, because the kid turned his dad into the FBI. It's one of the most despicable things anyone's ever done. He said Trump ruined my family. No, he ruined his family. Exactly right. Has CNN done interviews with the families of the victims of the 37 murderers on death row who had their death sentences commuted by Biden, or the families of the 2 FBI? Yeah, I mean, that is whataboutism, but not inaccurate. Disgusting to turn on your family for this. That's an extreme act of betrayal. There are only a few very select heinous crimes that would warrant turning on a family member, and this ain't it. I completely 100% agree with that exact take. Sorry, I guess I had that out of frame. Now CNN is interviewing potential lone wolves who just pick up a gun. Yeah, no shit. Can you imagine being such a loser that you turn your own dad in? Agree. If I had a son who did that, I would forgive him, but I would not interact with him again after that forgiveness. Oh, man. I got to think about that, actually. Man, that is a wild question. If my son turned me into the FBI, in my case, if my daughter turned me into the FBI in a situation like that, could I forgive her? I could if she apologized. I don't know, man. That is a hard one because my kids would never fucking do that. That is impossible in my family. That's just not a thing that would ever happen, ever. I think, Jesus, none of my kids have, I don't know. I would sniff that woke shit out, though, and I would just pull him out of school if I started seeing that. The kid was wearing a mask by himself, like making it very clear, I am not aligned with my parents' politics. Like, where does that even come from? This kid is the epitome of shame. He who mistreats his father and chases away his mother is a son who causes shame. And I'm with that, dude. Your father was jailed under false pretenses. So yes, it will harden him, and you probably have nothing to worry about because you stopped being his son as soon as you turned him in for money. That's a fact, dude. That's a fact. Only gutter scum like CNN would actively seek out that piece of shit to whine about J6 prisoner pardons. Yep. Wow, it was hard to watch such a delusional, hateful, sick young man. He has the ultimate made-up victim mentality who imagines not to be safe. He is the one who took the safety of his family away. He should be crawling on the floor before his father to ask for forgiveness. Yeah. Man, this is disgusting, dude. Marxism's first target is to separate vulnerable, impressionable kids from their parents. The state becomes their parents, just like the state becomes the god of most liberals. Dude, that is a dead-on take.